Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with TeddyBaldassarre.com. In this video, we're looking at a watch from Zelos with the Hammerhead version 3. So in this video and on this channel, we cover watches available for purchase on our website, TeddyBaldassarre.com, as a full authorized dealer. So in this video, full in-depth review of this timepiece. At the end, final points of consideration. But throughout this video, if you have any further questions, link down below to the product page where you can learn more, purchase the watch, and book a time with one of our dedicated watch specialists as well. But guys, let's jump into the video, take a closer look at this watch. Singapore-based micro brand Zelos is well known for their construction of incredibly well-positioned dive watches in the price range of sub $1,000. You could look at the likes of the Mako, you can look at the Abyss series, but the model we're going to be looking at today is the latest version of the Hammerhead. They're well-constructed, well-specced out dive watch that has a more restrained lug-to-lug distance and stout profile, but coming in at a price of south of $500 with a lot going for it. When taking a look at the Hammerhead 3 on the wrist, we have a familiar case design if you've ever seen any of the other Hammerhead series of watches. It measures at a sizable 44 millimeters across with a case thickness of 15 millimeters, and from a lug to lug, it's nearly identical at 48 millimeters compared to the previous variant. Now, while the size of the case is quite substantial, that lug to lug dimension, very similar to the effect that many Seiko divers will have, is going to make this one wear smaller on the wrist, closer to that of a 40 to 41 millimeter case. It is going to be vertically imposing in terms of that thickness because you are talking about 15 millimeters at the end of the day. Some of that is coming from the dome sapphire crystal, but that 15 millimeters is nothing to scoff at. It is quite substantial. But when you look at the Hammerhead, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. Looking at the case finishing as well as the architecture, there's no confusion of what this watch is going for. At the 4 o'clock position, we have a large screw down crown, which is signed and fully loomed, which is a cool touch that comes with Zelos timepieces. Its position prevents any digging or pinching when flexing the wrist. Operationally, it's going to operate pretty straightforward manner. Unscrewing into the first position, you'll have hand winding, second position for the date change, and then the furthest pulled out point, you then can adjust the time while stopping the second hand in the process, so hacking seconds here. In terms of the physical differences between the Hammerhead 2 and 3, there is a decrease in case height as well as the removal of the hidden helium escape valve here on the Generation 3. These physical changes have reduced the water resistance threshold from 1,000 meters to 300 meters, which is still more than suitable for recreational diving. And if I had to choose between a thinner case and more water resistance, I'm going to go for the thinner case every day of the week. To aid with diving, this piece is fitted with a 120-click unidirectional bezel that has large column-style grooves along its edge. Rotating the bezel is done with very little to no lateral play. It does require a bit more force than normal to get its rotation, but that comes with some upside knowing it's not going to be knocked out of position. Each bezel is supplied with a ceramic insert that's fully loomed at the numbers for enhanced low-light readability. The case is octagonal with multiple facets to each side, including down through the lugs, which gives the case a rugged, boxy look. Applied finishes to the case surfaces are a combination of alternating brush and bead-blasted matte that reflect light in their own unique way. The transitions between these case facets are soft yet well-defined, and this design language makes its way down through the bracelet. The bracelet on this model actually is probably one of the best selling points for this watch. It is very good for the money. I want to start by highlighting the fixed end links that are going to shoot straight down from the case, so it's not going to add anything to that lug-to-lug distance. From there, the 22 millimeter bracelet transitions into a 3-link design with more of a rugged fastening we will see with the case. The bracelet concludes at a folding clasp with a 2-button release. Tucked inside the clasp is a micro adjustment slider that can be engaged with just the use of your finger or thumb and provides another 8 millimeters or so of space. As I've mentioned before with other reviews looking at Zelos watches, I think they just do a fantastic job from a finishing perspective. Same could be said about this case and overall bracelet. That on-the-fly adjustment is also going to be incredibly useful, and we'd love to see it be used more by more manufacturers in the future. Looking at the dial first, we have a slightly domed sapphire crystal with AR coating that shows off the teal down below. One point about the AR coating is these are not going to be the best treatment that I have seen out there. Reflections can be pretty nasty at certain angles, but in terms of once you get view of the dial, it is rather striking and it's going to be very easy to read. To start, the dial has a pretty substantial sunburst effect that changes the blue from light to dark and vice versa as the piece moves underneath the light. From there, the dial fades to nearly black as it moves from the center to the edge with a fume effect. Accentuating the dial is a white chapter ring. The markers are boarded in polished steel and contain large single sections of luminous material, and matching these markers in both style and size are the fully lumed hands at the center. Additionally, there is a date window at the 6 o'clock position with a date wheel that matches the color of the dial surface. Above the date window is the text referencing the model and the water resistance. Granted, while nearly everything about this dial comes together really well, the word Hammerhead is nearly invisible at some angles, but far from a deal breaker. Finally, sitting just below the 12 o'clock marker is the fully loomed logo. In terms of Zelos and their use of lume, I've said it before on other videos, they are one of the best at applying it in the price category, right on par with some of the benchmarks in the industry with Seiko and their Lumibrite as well as Citizen. Turning the watch over, we find a solid screw down case back adorning an embossed Hammerhead motif, a familiar sight if you're acquainted with the other Hammerhead models. Inside, powering this piece is the workhorse automatic Seiko NH35, which is among the most widely used movements in the microbrand space. This movement offers hand winding and hacking second capabilities as well as a date function. It operates at 21,600 vibrations per hour or 3 Hertz with a power reserve of approximately 40 hours. Accuracy out of the box is rated to -20 to +40 seconds a day, but Zelos does factory regulate each movement, so real world performance is going to be much better than the tolerance range that's provided. So now to unpack looking at the Zelos Hammerhead 3. In regards to Zelos and their design, they're not a design that's going to have some universal appeal. Some are going to really not like the designs as they appeal more to an enthusiast crowd and being, I would say, more eccentric in their approach to design, leaning into high quality spec as well as an array of different colors of dials and very solid lume. But if you can turn the corner and fall in favor of what this brand has to offer from the design department and it is going to resonate with you, there's a lot to like as you turn that corner because from a specification standpoint, Zelos does deliver a lot for the dollar amount. Case and bracelet finishing is great. I love the on-the-fly adjustment, reliable movement on the inside, sapphire crystals, ceramic bezel, all of this coming under $500. The anti-reflective coating is a bit underwhelming. It's not going to be the best at resisting reflections. Wearability for this one is going to be a bit more restrained compared to other Hammerhead models, but if you want something that's even more compact, I'd recommend looking at the Mako series of dive watches instead. But who are we kidding? If you're looking at the Hammerhead model, you kind of know exactly what you're getting. It's going to be a well-constructed, tank-built like dive watch with stocky proportions and is one of many dive watches from Zelos that just does a really good job and stacked up against the competition. All right, guys, well, thank you again so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That really does help out the channel. Also, if you're in the market for this watch, Baldassarre.com is a full authorized dealer of all the brands covered on this channel. Quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support. We also offer a full factory warranty for all the products we carry, so if something goes wrong, you're not having to pay the bill for it. Also, we offer price match, so if you see one of our watches for cheaper at another authorized dealer, fill out the form, we'll get in touch with you, and 9 out of every $10 that we generate goes right back into the content that we're creating here, as well as on our main channel, trying to foster up a new generation of watch enthusiasts in the process. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.